All right. Good morning, everyone. Yeah, trust we're well and safe. I know I'm not supposed to be online on Tuesday at 10 o'clock, but I just thought to really bring this. This is not part of any of the things I've been doing before. This whole um streaming is coming from arising from whatever it is that is happening in our nation in Nigeria as at now at the moment. And it's important. I'm doing this not because I even know why I'm doing it, but because it is better than silence, and that's it. It is better than silence. I think I gotta remove this, even if my eyes are a little bad this morning. All right. Uh, I feel like I'm doing it because I don't know what else to do. Um, because we've been having series of negatives in the country over the last couple of weeks, and in the last couple of days it's just almost like it's climaxing, um, and we are approaching. If we just do, I'm not here in the capacity of a prophet or a prophet of doom or a false prophet. I'm just here, if we do scenario thinking, if we just allow everything run that is going now in our head. I mean, just say, okay, let's see if this scenario will run its course to completion. If it runs from now till the next 10 years, till the next, and nothing intercepts it, nothing comes in between it, nothing stops it, what's it going to be like for our nation? All right, so that's what I'm thinking about. I mean, at the beginning in 2006, terrorism was not what it is right now. It was just a group of people carrying machetes around, hacking people down and trying to establish something. But now it is progressed. It has systematically progressed over the last 14 years. And it's funny how we really could not see, because if we had done scenario planning, scenario thinking from 2006, we'll have understood that if these things go unchecked, this is where we will get to as a nation at some point. All right. And then we didn't think about it. We didn't talk about it. Of course, we have there have been a lot of I won't say a lot of some pockets of agitation, because as a people, as Nigerians, we are resilient, and I think that's a blessing and a curse. It's a good and a bad at the same time, because what happens is that the average Nigerian, when he's going through something, will not stop. He just goes through it. So he's not considering anything. He's on what we call survival mode. He's driven by the desire and the need to survive. He's not looking to thrive, to optimize himself in the environment that he stays in. And this, I, I don't think it's by design. I think it's something we evolved to do over time as a nation. We just got tired of agitations, and we'll rather survive today than fight tomorrow, that kind of thing, and then go out and say things and do things that we ought to do. Like I said before, I'm doing this. If you can hear me, it's almost like my thoughts are not arranged, but really I'm going somewhere. I feel like we are in a very critical point as a nation. Okay, I mean that's not news anymore. If you've been, I mean, listening to mainline media, you would have been seeing all of these things, yeah. But my take this morning is, how do we fix it? Because what we're looking at, if we run this scenario to the end, what we're looking at is an all-out violence, and it's violence. Things like war. It's so simple to start, but after it started, it's difficult to end. The problem now is we skipped a phase. Every time a nation is retrogressing or going into approaching conflict, this is what happens. And this is how it progresses. So if we had done scenario thinking, we'll have seen this. But this is how it progresses. Certain things begin to happen. People have a sense of dissatisfaction with the norm and what's happening. And then when the dissatisfaction grows, all right, it grows to a point where they have either of two options, right? Option number one is they begin to speak out to relevant authorities about their dissatisfaction they're having about the things that are happening around them. And when they start to speak, most likely authorities would ignore and not respond. So they progress to the second level. The second level is they begin to protest, that's civil disobedience. They begin to protest, they begin to have marches, they begin to have rallies. All this while you're trying to engage relevant authorities so that we can begin to negotiate for what we want, to alleviate the dissatisfaction, or to no, even remove completely the sense of dissatisfaction that we have. So they are saying they start this, the civil disobedience, the rallies, the protests, all of this builds up until um, and what happens in the process of all of this is that you begin to see some kind of leadership, some kind of leadership begin to come up, such that the people who are placing demands on relevant authorities and government are beginning to have representatives, and then dialogue, conversations are beginning to happen, things are beginning to happen, and that way they can arrive at a some kind of conclusion, all right, that helps both parties walk away with maybe not everything they want, all right, but part of their dissatisfaction will be, I mean, alleviated, removed, because there is an engagement that is happening. Now, the other option, like remember I said they have either of two options. The other option is that they hold back and continue to bear and bear. They go from dissatisfied into full survival mode. And that's a very dangerous place to be at, because when they're in the survival mode, whatever, and I mean, what they're doing is they're literally bearing everything that is being thrown at them. They are not, expressing their dissatisfaction in such a way that the different parties are coming to begin to dialogue and talk. What happens is that they continue to pile up pain and pile up aggression and pile up dissatisfaction and pile up all of the things that they are piling up. Because they're not expressing it, they skip a whole process. Because when they get to the end, or of their wits, the end of their capacity to suppress, capacity to endure, capacity to take nonsense, they just go from that point straight to violence. And that kind of violence is unorganized, it's not structured, it is purely animalistic. The things that come out from that kind of violence is scary. You really cannot handle it. All right. What has happened to us as a nation is that all right. Okay, so over the last since 1999 we've been enduring things, and we're beginning to, and what happened is that in the whole of that space of time we've had only two key times of civil disobedience, the Occupy Nigeria 2012 and then NSAS, two key times. So in the last 20 plus years, we've had only two times where there was a collective response, a collective reaction, a collective expression of dissatisfaction by the people. What we have done largely is that we've been suppressing, piling up, piling up, piling up. So we've skipped entirely the process that would have helped us engage government, engage relevant authorities to share our dissatisfaction, and then look for how to begin to create policies, enact laws, get this government and get the people in authority to understand that we're not satisfied and we're not going to keep quiet. We've missed that whole space, and now we're beating the drums of war. So I think this is what this conversation will be, and I'll wrap up in the next couple of in the next 1 or 2 minutes. This is what I think we should begin to do now, and this lies very much, very much. I've always spoken about this, and it's still what I think is the best solution. This lies with the middle class. Our best solution, the way I think it, because if we keep going like this, the progression, if we just run this scenario to the end, we're looking at an all-out war, and it's the bloodiest kind. The bloodiest kind. It's an animalistic thing that will be unleashed at that time, and you won't get it until we're right inside it. Our best solution now is to begin a process of civil disobedience. I'm saying this with all heaviness. I'm a Christian. I've been praying for this country, and I think a lot of Christians are praying, but we need to add some work to our prayer. All right. We need to begin now to hold protests, to hold rallies, to all of those things that will begin to call relevant authorities to begin to listen. In the initial, it might be a little, yeah, there might be skirmishes, but we have to sustain it. It's happening in Mayina. It happened in Black Lives Matter in America until they got to a point where they could actually get people convicted for crimes against blacks. You must understand that that's momentous for them, but I'm not even looking at it. It's happening everywhere where there's bad governments in the world right now. People are hitting the streets and saying we're dissatisfied because that is better than all out war. We need to begin the process of civil disobedience. We need to start rallies. We need to start protests. We need to begin to look to how to engage relevant authorities in dialogues, in conversations. We need, as a matter of fact, to hit the streets now. If not, we will run soon. And this is something the middle class would have to begin to help us champion. I can emphasize, the middle class is the most mobile most mobile class in our economy. They can up and leave at any moment. There, at least they are afloat. They have both the capacity, the intellectual capacity, and sometimes the financial resources to leave the country and go out. They have the least to lose, but they are the ones who can make this a lot more organized, a lot more put together. We need to begin to engage government and relevant authorities now with protests, with rallies. We need it right now. If not, the whole system seems like nothing can work against it. Nobody can speak against it. Nobody can do anything against it. We're emboldening and empowering terrorists to take over our cities, take over our country, take over everywhere. The government seems not to be doing anything, even when they could do everything, because nobody's talking to them. We're ranting on all the social media platforms, but we're not engaging government on the streets. There are no town hall meetings holding anywhere. So we seem to be in full survival mode. Once survival capacity is expanded, the next thing is animalistic tendency. You ever fought a wild animal? You're chasing it. You have all the weapons to fight against it. I mean, it will run until it's cornered. The moment it becomes cornered, it morphs the whole wildness, all the primal rage and all the primal instinct and the madness locked inside that beast is called out, and he turns back and fight because he's tired of running. He's cornered. Nigerians are almost at the point where they're cornered right now. If we don't start to split that, I mean, take some people who would have gone to pick up arms and put them back on the streets, and we're engaging government and we're reducing the number of people that are running to all out conflicts. We're trying to slow things down a bit. We will not achieve the peace we're looking for. We are heading for a certain calamity. This is like a Holocaust coming. If you know the capacity of the people we're dealing with, the terrorists who can hack a pregnant woman, cut out a baby from the womb, people who can cut children's head. That's the level of barbarity that is coming. If we don't begin to engage this government and talk and ask questions and ask to be governed properly and place demands, at least we will all find ourselves in a situation where a few people or a lot of people, very dissatisfied, very cornered, resolve to armed conflicts. And you know, there are 200 million of us. It's going to be a killing field. I'm appealing. I just, like I said, I'm doing this because I don't know what to do. You know, we pray, but we need to walk. We need to engage this government. Silence, this silence is not the best thing we can do. It is empowering all the enemies of this country. If Nigerians don't rise up and speak, I don't think we can escape what's coming.